They're the people we hope never to need, but when an emergency occurs, they're all we depend on.
Ambulance emergency.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
Don't do anything for the meantime and put the knife away.
Filming with 999 call takers, emergency paramedics and their patients. This is the story of the men and women of the HSE National Ambulance Service.
I don't know everyone in Wicklow just because I live in Wicklow.
You feel a bit dizzy. Sit down there before you fall down because I won't be able to catch you.
This time, from recreational runners to rugby regulars, how an indulgence in contact sports leads to an increase in emergency calls.
He was screaming in pain.
Just there. Okay.
He was self-splinting his arm, so he was guarding his arm himself and holding it.
All right, you're going to push into your legs and stand up.
I'm really dizzy though.
With every case comes cause for concern, especially in the youngest of patients.
With any child, they can appear okay, but they can go down very rapidly.
And how sometimes blood is thicker than water and all's fair on the field of play.
I think you made me play as man.
Sports injuries are very common. We would, especially on a Saturday and Sunday when there's obviously a lot of sport going on, we can deal with anything from dislocated shoulders, fractured ankles, fractured wrists.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
The one piece of kit we're always checking is our vacuum splints, which splint the legs. They're like casts that we put on injuries because we know on a Sunday we're always going to get somebody with a fractured leg or a fractured arm, dislocated shoulder because of sports.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions there, okay? Are you with the patient now? How old is he?
I play for Blackrock rugby team, so every time we've a match, we've a lot of injuries. You know, people going down with concussions who could be out for 2 to 3 weeks, not being able to play a match.
Okay, is he awake? Okay, is he breathing? Okay, when did this happen?
On the trauma end of things, like you have to, if somebody rings in and says there's a 13-year-old young fella here, he's after getting an awful smack playing rugby. We hear the crunch. Now he's complaining of neck and back pain. You say, okay, where is he now? Is he still on the ground? Oh no, we picked him up. You know, and that could easily paralyse him. You know, if someone has a neck injury or a back injury and you start moving them around and dragging them around the ground, you could very easily hurt them a lot worse than they already are.
What did he break? You said he had a broken leg.
It's hard as well to try and get through ProQA as quickly as possible, so you can tell them don't move them. But obviously, you use your own initiative as well. It's common sense. You say to somebody, if he says, oh, he's complaining about neck, and you say, okay, don't move him for a moment. Someone's organising help for you now. I just need to ask you a few quick questions. Make sure no one moves him there for a minute.
Do not splint any injuries, okay? Now just reassure him that help is being arranged, okay? Now don't let him have anything to eat or drink and might make him sick or cause problems for the doctor, okay?
Usually most injuries we go to on sports injury related or just like broken bones, maybe a bit of concussion, nothing too serious. You do get called to the odd sports room, sudden adult death, and that's, you know, cardiac arrest. Now most sports centres and most like the GA and most of the soccer clubs and rugby clubs have put investment in defibrillators for centres and training for staff, which is a good thing. So because like there's nothing worse than getting called to a sudden death of an adult in the middle of a sports pitch with a crowd watching. It's upsetting for people.
There's a big crowd of people here, isn't there? For just somebody with a fall. He's running, he's a runner. It's strange, he's out running, looks like he's out running.
We were called to, don't think we actually, the details weren't exactly what we got to. I think it was a chap collapsed at the side of the road is the call we got. And we arrived down to see this chap holding on to railings next to a set of traffic lights and kind of a large enough group of people around him for where it was at the time of the day.
Some sports really aren't good for your health. We got a gentleman who'd been out running on his lunch break and had actually ran into the traffic lights at the side of the footpath, and he'd actually he'd done damage to his hip.
Right, is it the top of the leg? It's the top right. Ah! Just there. Okay, good stuff. All right, we get you some pain relief. Some knot straight away there, so.
He was screaming in pain. So I suppose the first thing was just to get a quick, brief medical history from him and get what happened. And the next big thing then was to try and get his pain under control.
That's a pain relieving gas. Ever have it before?
No.
No. Okay. Stick this into your mouth. Breathe away deeply. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just grit it in between your teeth. Do you hear that noise? That means it's working.
Once we kind of found out what was going on with him, you're into treatment mode, and it was kind of unusual because, again, we had to position the ambulance so that we were safe to work, because we actually ended up standing in the lane of a busy dual carriageway trying to treat this chap. So you just have to be conscious of the environment you're working in when you're in there, just to be safe. And it was unusual just with the crowd of people that were there as well. You just have to be conscious for himself. Like, he was very kind of animated, guys, and he was screaming and roaring and shouting. And we gave him a drug called Entonox, and people have fierce, unusual reactions to Entonox sometimes.
Come here.
Peter was able to give him morphine for the pain as well.
Is it reducing a bit for you, the pain?
We left him standing, got out the stretcher, strapped his two legs together and popped him up onto the stretcher.
What we're going to do, I'm going to support your leg. We're going to get you to sit back onto the stretcher, and we're going to lie you back in one quick movement.
All right.
Sit back. Sit back. No, Martin. I have it, Martin. No.
I'll give him lots of pain relief in between hand to get him to where we needed to be.
There we go.
Okay, Martin. Good stuff.
Just relax, keep sucking. Keep the mouth closed around it.
But once we got him on the stretcher, he was comfortable enough at that stage.
Yeah, keep sucking on the gas, Martin.
I'll just keep it supported there because it's relaxing down. We're going to go around.
That's, yeah, he's using half the inch, with his mouth open.
Yeah. Good stuff. No. That's grand. Okay, I have it there a little bit. Alright, good. Yeah. Good and tight. That's it. Good stuff.
He was given the pain relieving gas Entonox. I suppose most people would know it from the maternity wards used in labour. And I suppose that's the one thing that we always get a laugh off, especially if we give it to the men and they're still complaining that the pain is still hurting them, is that get over it. The women use it to have babies.
Listen, thanks for all the help. Thanks for all the help. There you go.
Appreciate the boys. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
We'll pop on some
You were the star of the show.
Absolutely.
The star of the show. Okay, get his name on the way out.
His reaction to Entonox was brilliant. He was screaming and roaring and shouting and having great fun with it.
There we go.
What the hell? What the hell?
We'll watch the hill.
We'll watch the hill.
Watch the pole. Don't mind the hill.
So it's a good drug, and it's a very easy drug for us to use because just once we make sure you can take it, it acts quite quickly.
It was a man. What do you call him? That came down here.
He was in so much pain, he was actually sucking hard on the cylinder of Entonox. He went through 2 cylinders of Entonox along with the tablets he had gotten and the morphine. And I suppose we saw to some effect that it can have that effect on people. They can go from laughing to stop taking their gas, and it's actually quite fast acting and wears off very fast. So once they stop using it, it's kind of back to reality very fast and the pain hitting again until they start inhaling the gas again.
How often do you go running?
Generally 3 days a week.
Do you do any races or anything? Or?
I done the Cork Women's Mini Marathon.
Did you? That's alright. So you won it, didn't you? I know I recognise the face.
Fierce, nice chap. Do a bit of running myself, so it's good to have a connection with somebody when you're treating them. So we were able to chat about running and.
Where do you work? In the revenue. in the revenue. If we had known you'd worked in revenue, you wouldn't have gotten any morphine.
It looked to us as if the gentleman had broken or dislocated his hip.
Gentle as we can for you, alright?
I hope he's doing well and I hope he gets back running, you know.
You alright? Comfortable? Yeah. As much as you can be. Okay. Thanks.
There you go.
There's a huge interest in health and there's a huge interest in people getting out into the environment and going hill walking, going trekking. Mountain biking has really taken off here on the East Coast.
We will attend at a lot of people falling off their horses, or we'll attend at people who trip or fall while hill walking or mountain climbing, and maybe some kayaking incidents and some incidents where people are at the beach or diving or swimming.
But it's not just the ambulance service who deal with these people, it's the dealing with the other agencies as well, such as the mountain rescue teams. We often take over from them. Sometimes we go and give them assistance. You'll have the Coast Guard teams we work with as well.
On that afternoon we got a call for a young man who had come out of his kayak and was now unconscious in around the Loughdane area in County Wicklow. When we arrived at our given location, there was no sign of the man. It was later found out that it was a river leading into Loughdane where the incident had happened. In this particular situation, it was hard to tell how many patients were involved or how many people were involved. We understand it was a group of kayakers out together, a group of maybe up to 7 kayakers together, and we certainly understand that there was one man who got into difficulty and who was unconscious. So we were standing by the lake and we had no visual on any of the kayakers. So we rely on updates from our control room, and we stand by for any information.
We can see them where they're circling here, and they're over the Inchafore River, which is just northwest of where you are there, up that dam. Over.
The outcome in this case was that I understand the man got into difficulty in his kayak and was submerged for a period of time. His friends done some CPR on him and was winched by the Coast Guard rescue helicopter.
But report is that they're going to fly them straight to Tala, but we're still awaiting confirmation on that.
Roger, we might just rendezvous with you back at the car park there.
He was taken directly to Tala Hospital where there was further CPR attempts, but unfortunately in this case he didn't survive. In that particular situation, you know, we knew that there was a young man, a teenager in terrible difficulty in an inaccessible place, and you know, from our standpoint we feel quite helpless standing at the edge of the lake, but thankfully enough the helicopter had access to him, but from our standpoint, you know, we could not get anywhere closer to him, unfortunately. And you know, in that situation we really feel helpless. We'd like to do more for him. It's terrible to think that we're there on the day where, for his friends and family, it's absolutely life-changing day for them, and a day that they'll never ever forget. And you know, we don't like to be part of those days, but unfortunately that's part of our job.
Yeah, edible crayon, please. Did you see the chocolate? The hair chocolate? No. That's really funny. Sorry, this is totally off the line. Change your hair colour in just minutes. Woohoo! I was like, we should definitely use that sometime. Where we're situated, there's quite a lot of sports clubs around us. We have pretty much everything from the yachting clubs down in Dunleary to the rugby clubs to the soccer clubs to GA, and then they do a lot of the extreme sports and adventure sports down in Wicklow, which are canoeing and horse riding and all that. So Weekends can be busy.
Working in the area that we see all sorts of sports injury. We have a huge schools population, and we have a couple of big rugby teams around, and lots of GAA clubs, soccer clubs. So we quite Saturdays and Sundays can be quite busy with football, sporting injuries of all different sorts.
Shoulders and knees are probably the most common dislocations that we get, and kind of followed up by broken fingers, broken collarbones, stuff like that. One of the calls I went to was a 17-year-old male who'd a possible dislocation of his shoulder.
We arrived on scene, and my partner Alison took the lead on the call itself.
It was a very, very cold day, and we went up to the side of the pitch, and he was sitting up. He was self-splinting his arm, so he was guarding his arm himself and holding it.
Have you taken Entonox before? Gas and air for pain? Okay. You haven't been scuba diving lately, have you?
No.
No. Any problems with your breathing?
No.
Ever had a spontaneous punctured lung or anything?
No.
No. Okay. Now, I need you to just breathe it right deep into your lungs. I want to hear that farty noise when you breathe it in. Big deep breaths. Suck on it. That's it.
I gave him some pain relief and had a chat with him, and he was quite willing to stand up and walk to the ambulance.
How are we doing, Jay? Okay, hold on to that arm. Now what we're going to do is you're going to hold that arm, this guy's going to hold the gas for you, and I'm pretty much going to lift you up. Alright, you're going to push into your legs and stand up.
I'm really dizzy though.
I know.
And I've got cerebral palsy, so my balance might not be that good.
That's alright, I won't let go of you. Promise,
okay.
right?
You sure?
Promise.
Okay.
Okay,
No,
hold your arm. Hold your arm.
Okay.
Hold your arm. Okay, hold your arm.
Can you keep this in you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You hold your arm for me.
The fact that he stood up and walked to the ambulance himself and wanted to do that, that's a good indication that your patient is quite relaxed and in control of what's going on. Some people tend to panic a little bit or, get very upset. It is distressing. But he was very calm.
How's the pain? Good man, you're doing great. Step. That's it, keep going. Keep sucking on that gas. Mind another step down.
One of my concerns was that he didn't get too cold, because he's sitting there after running around, he's, sweated a bit, and he's now sitting in a very cold pitch side, and I didn't want him to get colder than he needed to.
We're going to get you warm, because it's cold.
Now use this blanket.
All right, you're freezing.
Okay, when you're ready. 1, 2, 3,
Just the pain. Okay, we're going to give you more stuff for the pain now. Where's your gas gone?
We immobilised the shoulder, and as I was in support of Alison, I administered pain relief, because the young chap had quite an amount of pain for his actual injury, so we administered some morphine.
The gas is great stuff though, just initially to get you moving.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to feel a little cold sensation in your arm
Again,
now.
yeah.
And just to check that
Very
the
mean,
line's all good there in that position, alright?
How are you feeling? Are you feeling warm?
Yeah, warm is good.
Warmish. That your bag of gear there?
Yeah.
Have you a woolly hat in that?
No, unfortunately no.
No, woolly hats are the bomb.
Yeah, cold sensation going into your arm there.
We gave him further pain relief, made his journey very comfortable to the hospital, where he went in, he got x-rayed. It was a dislocation, and the arm was put back in place.
We would get a lot of calls out to paediatrics. Thankfully, we don't get as many as what we would to adults. I suppose there are always the call that we all hate getting.
How far did she fall? Was it the full flight?
Young children sometimes can be difficult calls to deal with, and particularly if you've a mum or a dad or a brother and sister giving CPR to a younger sibling or a son or daughter. It's very, very difficult, because particularly if you have kids, you kind of put yourself in their shoes and God, how are they going to manage, how are they going to cope?
What caused the fall? Is there any serious bleeding?
As care providers, nobody likes to see a sick child. As a parent myself, I don't enjoy seeing sick and injured children. Now I recognise that part of growing up is to get knocks and bumps, and children get sick the same as anybody else.
Is she completely alert? Okay, what part of her body is injured?
Straight away, I suppose your heart is racing a bit quicker, your stress levels go up. kids are harder to deal with because they don't communicate as well. Sometimes they can't tell you where they're hurt, they can't tell you what's going on, and you're really relying on the parents to give you the information that you need.
Is she awake? Is she breathing? Okay, when did this happen?
A child will wrap itself around its mother and want nothing to do with you, and you can't even take a temperature or blood sugar or even take a blood pressure because they don't want to know. They're scared stiff of you. High-vis jackets is a big thing for kids as well. They run a mile.
Okay, help has been organised. Stay in the line. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do next.
You just have to be very careful because with any child, they can appear actually okay, but they can go down very rapidly.
Okay, and don't move her unless it's absolutely necessary. Just tell her to be still there and wait for help to arrive.
Children calls are difficult calls on the best of occasions. Especially what would be quite a common one, which is the febrile convulsion, where a child basically overheats, can't maintain its temperature and goes into a convulsion, and that's extremely scary for a parent.
This little chap we were called to in Youghal, and he more or less just fainted in the car.
So when we got there, he was sitting in the car. The mother was quite panicked, as obviously any mother would be when it's their child is not feeling well.
Hiya. Story.
Hello. What's your own name? What is it? Wisdom. Okay. Wisdom, what happened?
A lot of things with kids, with us, is just it turns out to be something viral, so a viral infection or like a bacterial infection. So once you control the actual virus or infection with antibiotics, even if they have a temperature, you can just control that then with paracetamol or Nurofen.
Wisdom, will we pop you in?
Yeah, go on then.
Right, we'll pop him into the ambulance, yeah? You happy, Mum, yeah? We won't do anything till you come in anyway, is that alright?
We assessed him and got him into the ambulance, and he was actually quite a happy little chap. We sorted out his headache for him, gave him painkillers.
Just some paracetamol as well, okay? So you want to just give yourself that, squeeze the end of it, and it'll pop into the mouth. Okay, good man. A very brave little fella, and all he was concerned with really was his mammy coming with him. Once we get out onto the bypass, you know, it'll be less bumpy. Did you get a fright? Yeah.
The difference even in the mother, from once we arrived, she had relaxed and we'd explained to her what was going on, what we were doing, and he was actually smiling by the time we got to the hospital as well.
You do a bit of running? 100 metres, are you fast?
Do you?
How fast are you? Pretty fast? Super. No. Okay, I'll have a word with the staff there now and we'll get you in.
Sorry, Connor, has she ever had any seizures before? No. Okay. Okay, just try and keep her awake there, keep her engaged.
06 Delta 01 red. 06 Delta 01 red. 7-year-old female. This will be a very short of breath there.
Where was the address again there, Pascal, please? Thanks.
St Mary's Road in Middleton.
Roger, thanks so much.
We got a call to doctor's surgery for a little girl who was having an asthmatic attack.
Now we go up to the side door there, Mum, of the ambulance.
We got down to the child and the doctor had actually started the treatment for the child prior to us getting there.
Pop up here, Amy, first, because it's quite high for your mum. There we go. Up the daisy. Phew.
This little girl, we had her sitting on the stretcher and she was after being in the doctor's surgery, and we gave her this little test we do. It's called a peak flow, and it's kind of a funny little test in that you get them to take in as deep a breath as they can and blow it out as fast as possible.
Have you had this before? No. So what you do is you catch it like this and you go as fast as you can. Is that okay? And it tells us how good your lungs are. Okay? Alright, so just pop this off for 1 second. You're taking a big breath, hold it yourself. Go on! Alright, we'll do that again. Then watch now, look, go. Good girl. Right, excellent.
What we're trying to measure is how good the lungs are doing at the time, basically.
Do you want to hold it?
Not give you a job to hold that instead of putting it around your head. Super. And when you feel all better, you can take it down. Does that sound good? Is it helping? Excellent. And is your mammy going to mind you all the way up? Super stuff.
Mommy's always minding, isn't she? You'll find that with children you have to adjust how you explain to them what you want them to do. Whereas an adult, you'll just tell them and they'll do it most of the time. But with children you have to encourage them and you have to make it into a little game, as it is. And so he was able to explain it to her, and she thought it was very funny in the end. And he was able to decide then whether he needed to give more medicine to her and continue on the treatment that the doctor had started.
Was it your birthday a few weeks ago? Oh, I know everything. I bet you were 7. I bet it was on the 13th of September. Ah, see, I know things, don't I? Am I like Santa? Santa will be coming soon.
She was actually very relaxed and her breathing was quite good by the time we got her to the hospital. And she was a lovely little thing. She was lovely and happy chappy when we got there. Mind the steps. There we go. No.
No, you're right to carry all of your bags. It's grand actually when you have kids yourself because you're up to speed on all the latest shows, all the kid shows, so you're up to speed on DreamWorks Dragons and everything, so you can have an old chat with the guys on the way up and just keep them as relaxed as possible and make it as less traumatic for them as it is, you know, because they're going into the accident and emergency department as well. And accident and emergency departments, even for adults, are scary places because there's lots of things going on and lots of kids crying and lots of people sick and hurt, and most of the hospitals would tend to have like a paediatric section where they're kind of basically sectioned away from where most of the stuff goes on with adults, just so that they don't see any kind of really bad stuff. Number 1, control we're clear at CUH.
Sorry about this now, but I've got a seizure and talking.
We went to this little fella after a seizure, is the call we got. So usually with kids it's either they have epilepsy or they're an undiagnosed epileptic, they've had some sort of a trauma to the head, or it's like a febrile convulsion. Is he still seizing? Oh, he stopped. Right. This little fella was epileptic. His mum was very in control of it. She was very used to his condition. How often will he get seizures?
He kind of has breakthrough ones every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
She was very relaxed, which makes it easier because you can get a good history from the parent.
How was he normally after the seizures?
He'd see forward.
Would he?
Yeah.
Jordan!
This is normal.
Jordan! Jordan!
Right.
How are you?
That should be his normal.
Good fella. Alright. Yeah. Okay.
Like when you try and touch now, you get kicks in.
Yeah. He was lying on the couch when we went in, and I remember there was some other kids in the house, and one little fella in particular, and he was playing with my watch and kind of chatting to me, and I was asking him about the fish and things. How many fishies do you have?
One gun.
Yeah.
Gun.
Is there one guy?
No, one gun.
One gun?
One gun.
Sometimes hands off with kids is better than fierce hands on. So the little fella, he was on the couch, he was kind of nice and relaxed. He was after a seizure, like having a seizure is like running a marathon. So he's really tired. He was okay. He had his airway, he was breathing medically, he was okay, and I was happy with him. So I kind of actually just left him alone while his mum got organised, rather than going poking and prodding at him, maybe upsetting him and having him clinging on, and then his mum trying to get all her bits maybe with this fella upset. Will I see you again, Matthew? He's going to hospital and we're going to make him better, aren't we?
Yeah. Come back again.
Yeah, he'll come back again, he will. Alright, will you be a good boy, so?
Bye now, see you again.
Good fella.
That's the difference of going to a house where there's actually epilepsy diagnosed and to a house where there's a first-time seizure. You'll find that with the first-time seizure, the parents are panicked. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's the best thing to do.
Go fast because he's going to get sick.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Just laying down onto the bed there.
Just sit him up because he's going to vomit. if you have people and it's their first time meeting the condition, it can be really upsetting and it can be really dramatic. But it was a very relaxed house, and it was just more of a transport to the hospital and just keep the little chap stable all the way up.
It's always a call that you're kind of worried going out to because you don't know what's happening. The child could have epilepsy, or it might be a febrile convulsion, and it's amazing the amount of parents that don't have a thermometer and they know their child is feeling hot but they can't check the temperature, and they don't give them, the child, something to bring down the temperature then, which leads to the febrile convulsion. A lot of them could probably be stopped if the parents just gave their children their Calpol or paracetamol if they did have a temperature and bring it down.
That's the best thing, because you're not too far away anyway, you know. You're sick of being in here, I'd say, yeah.
If you're working weekends, you're guaranteed to see some kind of a sports injury over your weekend, especially Sundays, and they'll usually be relevant to whatever season is on at the time, be it soccer, rugby, horse jumping, but there's usually kind of more specific injuries to the different sports, so it depends on what's in season at the time.
Where are my sunglasses? The most important thing. They're here. I have them.
I have mine anyway.
I have them. Ah! No, all is well in the world again.
I was working the Friday night, and I was saying to one of the girls how I was working the next 2 days and how I had exams in school the next week. And she was kind of like, oh, I can cover for you if you want to study for your exams. And I thought, yeah, sure, that'd be great. I could study for my exams, maybe get better than what I would be if I was working.
We get along fairly well, me and my sister. Even though there's a 3-year gap between us, we're nearly thick as thieves. We're practically the same person.
My sister, she's the captain of her hockey team, which is Bandon Division 3 ladies. And all week she had been, Marie had been saying to me, well, if you're not working and if you're around, you have to play the match. And I was kind of like going, you can go on away, I've got exams, I've got work and such. And then on the Sunday morning, when all came down to all, it was, yeah, sure, I'll be a good sister and I'll come to the match and be nice to her.
In my own head, I had been thinking, because we were coming so close to half-time, she was working so hard, and I knew that her legs were still repairing from a previous injury, that I was going to take her off. I was actually going to take her off at half-time, so that didn't happen. We had one sub. I was going to swap them out. I was going to take her off, leave her have a break, because she was working too much. She was running too much. Then it happened.
I had gotten the ball and I had just turned, and just there was a player right in front of me, and I kind of went to turn one way, but my body went one way and my ankle went the other way, and I just fell in such an awkward way that just my ankle just kind of went.
Ashton School, a broke leg. We went down to the hockey pitch for a girl who was injured.
Grass is too soft.
It's a hockey pitch.
Is that not grass, no? Yeah. Wonderful. Where is it?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
You'll always find that there'll be people meeting you to guide you onto the pitch and show you where people are. And we got there and the girl was lying on the ground, and if she wasn't roaring in pain, she was actually roaring at her poor sister, who was also happened to be there at the time.
I'm cold, I was really sore, I'm in shock, so I can't put my hands.
When they came over to us, it was very hard to assess the way she was, because she didn't want anyone touching her, and she was just kind of curled up trying to keep warm. So they did get her sock off, they assessed her, and then she wanted painkillers. She really, really wanted pain relief.
How sore is the leg?
Very.
Fully sore.
Painkillers, yes.
Yes, painkillers. We'll give you painkillers.
Our main priority was to focus on the patient first and see what was going on and start treatment for her.
Treated her on the scene, gave her the Entonox, and this pain relieving gas, again, it creates some funny reactions with people. It's going to make you feel a bit lightheaded.
I don't care.
Okay.
Oh, that could be broken. There's no probably it is.
Yeah, that's either bone or ligament.
1 second or no.
The first thing I was shouting at was my poor sister for persuading me and making me come to the match, and for having me be there when I just wanted to be at home studying, and I spent the whole time shouting, going, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm supposed to be at home studying. And I was shouting at the poor paramedics, I don't know why.
And then she started getting a bit angry at everyone, mostly me.
Oh, I hate you for playing me with maths.
You okay? You alright?
I'm supposed to be at work, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm supposed to be studying.
I was not a happy person. I was mad that I was after hurting my ankle. I wouldn't be able to work over Christmas. I wouldn't be able to go out with my friends, celebrate Christmas. But the paramedics, in all fairness to them, they were like, relax, it's okay. And they were like putting me on the gas, and they were reassuring my sister, it's okay, she's only on the gas, that she's so mad. And I was, of course, contradicting it, going, no, I'm mad, I'm very mad.
Marie, I hate you for making me play this math. Yes, it is. Okay, I want to be at home and study.
That's the gas. Don't worry about that. Some people have funny reactions.
I'm sorry. I do not want to play this match. I got up this morning and I told Mom I didn't want to. And that's broken. That's broken.
Have another breath. Good stuff. Take away the pain. Strapped up her leg, put a splint we have on it, and the most important thing for us with fractures, or I think actually her leg was a fracture dislocation, which is quite a serious injury, is that the pulses and sensation and circulation and movement of the limb isn't affected beyond where the injury is. We'll support your leg. Just stand up. Push in the bed. Now sit straight back. No, and swing up your legs. Swing up, not the other way.
Other way up.
Swing up your leg. That's it. No.
She absolutely killed her poor sister. Her sister was mortified at the way she was carrying on to her, and we were explaining to her that it was the gas that was making her do this, and her sister was saying, no, she's like this to me, it's all right. It was actually very funny to see the way siblings react with each other and blame each other for what happens.
Once we got into the ambulance, it was like nearly being involved in a domestic situation where the two girls were beginning to argue and blame each other and give out to each other a little bit, and I felt more sorry for the sister who was uninjured, because the barrage of abuse from the girl who was on the Entonox was nearly getting quite intense. So we blame Marie for everything, so yeah?
I think poor Marie's getting enough to blame now without you started.
No, I'm supposed to be at home studying. I took shifts so I could study for my Christmas test.
I told you yesterday it was study or work or here.
Yeah, and I had already switched with Kate, and I wanted to stay home studying, but you wanted me to come to this.
Keep reading this.
Paramedics were really good. They managed to calm her down. They managed to keep her talking, get her to actually answer all of her questions, and they took no notice of her slur because she was in shock. They're obviously used to that. So they were really, really good. They were really nice. They managed to keep her, try to keep her calm. They kept reassuring me that it was all just the gas, that it wasn't my fault or whatever.
Again, just reassure the sister that it was just the gas, not to be paying any attention to it. As to whether later on in the day the abuse continued or the giving out continued, I'm sure it did. Alright?
Not all bad news.
Not all bad news. I hope they don't lose the match now, after they say they'd win it for you.
She'll be crying forever today if they lose the match now.
Yeah.
I don't care about the match, I didn't want to play the match.
Yeah, we heard that. And it's all your fault.
Once the pain was under control and the leg was immobilised and she'd given out enough to her sister.
Is your knee alright?
Yeah, probably stand there. It's the first time I've got my knee in about 5 years. Because you cut your knee.
Yeah, it's very bad. I cut knees really bad.
Just will you? To be in here, it.
Will you jump off the stretcher for a minute? There's certain situations you're happy to get to A&E doors, and there are certain situations it's okay, you know, you're well in control of what's going on, and it's funny to listen to it. I'm sure her older sister was quite happy when we got to the A&E door, so that the situation would end.
Everything was fine until we got to the hospital and her dad came in, and the rant started all over again. She given out to the dad about the sister making her play the hockey when she should have been at home doing her studying, and how she'd cancelled work. So I'd say the sister had to get her a big Christmas present to say sorry for what had happened to her on the day.
I'd say from listening to the two of them, the ambulance day, I'd say they're like very good sisters together. I'd say they have a fierce bond because like they knew a lot about each other's lives, and I'd say they do a lot of things together, like the hockey and things. So I'd say like they have a fierce bond as sisters.
She has a really long road to recovery because she has to leave the bone repair, and then she'll have to build back up her muscle to be able to walk again, because 6 weeks of doing nothing, she'll have to learn how to walk again.
I'll get my good run out of pity of her for going, right, like this is your fault, like I wasn't supposed to go to this match. But sure, we'll get over it, and might be in a year and a half's time when Marie's going, but I did this for you, and I'm like, but whose fault is it that I broke my ankle so bad? I'll get my fair run out of it, but no, we're grand.
If the heart stops or anything happens to the heart, it has a huge effect on people.
Every minute goes by that patient's in cardiac arrest without CPR, the chances of survival is cut in half.
Nobody wakes up in the morning and chooses to suffer with depression.
If you have been affected by any of the issues raised in this programme, please visit our support page, tv3.ie/helplines.